Hey everybody, thought I would make a part two to a video I made a couple weeks ago called Pre-Columbus Cultures in America, and there were so many sites that I wanted to include in that video that I didn't. I thought I would make a part two, show you other sites around the United States that are at least 1,000 years old. And we'll start out going into Arizona here, a place called Montezumas Castle. And tucked in these these cliffs here are some ancient dwellings, and these look a lot like the ruins at Mesa Verde in Colorado, but I think these are very important structures, very cool structures. Shows you how well these people built in this time period about 1,000 years ago, but I just thought that was very cool. And the next site I want to take you into is just a little bit northwest of here. This, I believe, is called Tuzagut. And these are some ancient ruins that have held up pretty well over time. And one thing I have noticed looking at these ancient sites is a lot of times they are built on a thin outcropping of stone. And here I'll just give you an idea of what this looks like on Google Earth. But right out here on this very thin outcropping, this point here, we have the ruins of Tuzagut, and this is what they look like today. And if I can zoom in here, I will. And this will give you a good idea of what these structures, or what the remains of these look like today. We have some walls obviously built with the nearby rocks. This is the view of the surrounding area. Obviously you would have been able to see the whole area around here. And here's how these walls were built. I think this is a pretty impressive structure. This is called Tuzagut National Monument. And this is what it looks like from overhead. And the next site I want to take you into is in Wyoming, to the north here, and this is called Medicine Wheel. And once again here, you can see on Google Earth, this is built on a point, on an outcropping here. But what we have here is a big wheel made out of rocks that's still pretty well preserved today, and this is what it looks like. And why this was built, I think there's one pretty simple answer, and this was an astronomical observatory. There has been some other theories put out. I want to take you into a site here, but this just says the phases of a medicine wheel, and it shows how alignments are built into this. It says throughout the year, the rising of Orion and some other stars is depicted in this ancient site. Sirius, the summer solstice, Rigel and Orion, and some other stars are being tracked here, and that's what research has shown. I have no problem with that. But that is Medicine Wheel in Wyoming. And the next site I want to take you into is probably one you have not heard of, and this is up in North Dakota. This is called the Knife River Indian Villages, and the reason why I wanted to include this is because this site up here, and let me take you into exactly where some of these ruins were found. But research done up here has determined that human activity has been taking place here for maybe back as many as 7,000 years. And these are the ruins of this Indian village, and there are other ruins under the earth that you really can't see that well in this area. But these are the ruins of the Knife River Indian villages, and the history here goes back many thousands of years. I just thought I would include that. And the next site I want to take you into is in northern Minnesota, and this is called Grand Mound State Park. and you really can't see anything here, but this is where the largest earthen structure in the Midwest is located, or in the upper Midwest. I just want to take you into a website here. This is from the Star Tribune, and here you see a picture of Grand Mound, and this is actually 3 stories tall, and the base of it covers half a football field. This is a very large pyramid structure that I was totally unaware of. We have effigies here built in the earth. This obviously was a very important city and a center of trade in the very northern United States. This site has been closed to the public for about 8 years. The people of Minnesota didn't think this was cool enough to allot funds for, but they are trying to get this opened back up, and there has been some controversy with this ancient site in Minnesota and what to do with it, and people are always bitching about something up there, but they should get this site opened back up because I believe this is a very important site from Native American history. And here you see it's right on where 2 rivers meet. The Rainy River flows up here. This is very near Voyageurs National Park, where French explorers came in about 400 years ago. But this is a site that I was totally unfamiliar with, and I did some reading on it, and I was shocked by what I found and how big that pyramid is up there. The next site I want to take you into is called Mounds State Park in Indiana, and I found this place really fascinating, not just because of the mounds found here, but you really can't see what's going on underneath the canopy of the trees here, and I just want to go to a website. But what we have here in Mounds Park in Indiana is very fascinating to me, because what we don't have is mounds, we actually have henges, and these look a lot like Viking henges from Europe. They look like things you would find in Ireland also, but we have something here that I think is pretty remarkable going on here in Mounds Park in Indiana. This site looks very strange, and here you see some of the stuff going on here. This is one of the henges, but 2 of the henges actually overlap and they form a Vesica Pisces, and the reason why that symbol is there is up for speculation, but I just think here you can see one of the henges here in this park that hints of something maybe that we're just not grasping right now as where these ruins came from. But I just want to go back over here to Google Earth. This is Mounds Park in Indiana. This is what one of those ancient henges looks like. So henges is something you don't find a lot of places in the United States, but I think that is very remarkable. Next site I want to go into is one of the more famous sites, and this is called, of course, Serpent Mound in Ohio. And I just wanted to fly into this, show you kind of the landscape here. But as you can see, this is built on a point, on an outcropping, like so many other sites are. But here you see the longest effigy we have in this country, and I've done videos about that. I think it has to do with Orion and creation. And there are some other things located here at Serpent Mound. Obviously a mound here and some other sites, other things that people maybe haven't looked into as well as they should, but Serpent Mound is obviously one of the more fascinating sites in ancient United States. And the next site I want to take you into is in West Virginia, and this is in a place appropriately titled Moundsville, and this just kind of shows you how cities have just kind of built around these ancient sites. But this is one of the more impressive mound structures found anywhere in the United States, and I just want to give you a good view of this here. But this is this giant mound in Moundsville, West Virginia, and this is what it looks like here. But find it fascinating. It's located right in the middle of a town, but that is pretty cool. And going over to this website here, this is a picture maybe 100 years ago of the Grave Creek Mound, and there was a ditch that surrounded this, and maybe in the 1930s, 40s, this illustration was done. A sidewalk now surrounded it. So what was really truly here in ancient times is not what we see today, but for sure that mound is still there and it can be appreciated. And this is what it looks like. And once again, this is in Moundsville, West Virginia. Now, the next site I want to take you into is similarly titled Moundville, Alabama. And this is a pretty impressive ancient site here. But we have obviously a city structure laid out. We have some big mounds here. This is what it looks like. Some of these are flat top earthen pyramids. Some of these are mound type structures, but obviously a plan was laid out in ancient times and this city was built. This is called Moundville in Alabama. This is one of the more impressive ancient cities from ancient times, but I just wanted to include that also. Now the next site I want to take you into is in Georgia. I included a few sites in Georgia in my last upload about ancient sites in America, but this is called Rock Eagle Monument, and the symbolism of this is a little bit debated. There are certain theories, but this is made entirely of rocks to form maybe a bird, a figure with outstretched wings. What this could symbolize is up for grabs. It could symbolize maybe Cygnus, or it could maybe symbolize like the phoenix, what that symbolizes in ancient Egypt, but rebirth, something like that. But here it is out on this outcropping, this hill called Rock Eagle Monument, and this is located in Georgia. But I just wanted to show you some more sites around the United States. I could probably do about 5 more videos that show you some of these sites, and I know some of you are familiar with some of them, and I hope I familiarized you with some of these less known places, but these are ancient sites in the United States. The history of our country is a lot greater than we know. Hope you thought this was cool. You have a nice day.